Welcome back, fam. We say that because everyone who listens to us is like family to us. Not because everyone who listens to us is family to us.
Yeah.
But maybe also
strictly
that.
Metaphorical. Yeah. Today we're joined by actress, writer, and now director, theatrical director, Jalen.
Okay, but now this is really confusing for your listening audience because you introduced me as Jalen Rose when I was on the call with you guys during the Jump In episode.
Oh, yeah.
Just
And NBA star. Former NBA star.
just in case anyone's confused, I am not. Black man, Jalen Rose, basketball player.
She is indeed white woman, Jalen McEwen.
That'd be so awesome if we could get Jalen Rose.
Well, we are here with Jalen. We're going to talk about a movie today. But first, it's time to be unruly, fam. Are y'all ready for this unhinged question that ChatGPT gave me?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is literally the prompt I put in. Give me an unhinged question to ask someone at the beginning of a podcast. If you woke up one morning and found out that you were declared the supreme ruler of an underground society that worships raccoons, what would be your first decree?
Wait, is it underground like a secret organization or underground like they're literally underground?
I don't know. I was thinking secret organization until I read that we worship raccoons, and then I was like, we might be in tunnels underground. We might live in the sewers. So, I will let you to decide. Are we underground as in secret, or are we physically under the ground?
Do raccoons live in holes? I thought they were more like tree people.
I don't know what they live in. I don't know if they live in burrows.
Or maybe the dumpster's their natural habitat.
They den in buildings and thrive on diets of garbage, pet food, and other items available to them. I think these are city raccoons.
What are you reading?
I don't think raccoons existed before humans did.
This says they prefer to make their homes in tree hollows, logs, abandoned buildings, or dens they find in rock crevices.
Okay.
So they like holes.
So they can go underground.
They like holes, but they're not digging their own holes. They're
Right.
finding
They're not-
existing holes.
Kill yourselves.
Say it again?
That would be my answer to the question.
Is kill yourselves?
That would be my
Get outta here.
decree.
You're
Yeah.
excluded from this conversation. If
What
you're not
a-
going to
what
take this seriously,
Okay.
then get out.
I am taking it seriously.
If I'm going with the idea that it's underground as in secret. So my first decree would be, we are no longer an underground organization. We are proud and we are public.
And we love raccoons.
We worship raccoons
Yeah.
with our full chest.
We our whole body. Okay. So Jalen's is, we are no longer a secret
This is
society.
such
We are a public society of raccoon worshippers. Alright, solid. Jace, give us a different answer.
I don't see how you can use this to your benefit. Like, you're not going to get any political power out of a group of, like, people that worship raccoons, right?
They never said they
I'm
were
not
in
in
it for
it
the
for the
political
power. I'm in it for the love of raccoons.
I'm in it for the trash pandas.
Okay, I'm thinking I'm a leader, and what does a leader do? They try to expand their little movement. Like,
How are people going to join our society of raccoon worshippers if they don't know about us, Jace? I'm getting marketing. We're
Yeah.
talking public relations. I am a good raccoon leader. Thank you very much.
I'm talking trash panda mascot. The most photogenic of the raccoons. We shall hold auditions. He shall be our spokesperson. Or she. She
Or-
shall be
or
a sports
she.
person. Yes, I've corrected myself.
We're gender inclusive in the Raccoon Worshipping Society.
Anyone
Yeah.
can be a weirdo.
We're gonna get in there. We're gonna lobby politicians, get equal rights for raccoons.
Yeah. It's not any stupider than what people already lobby politicians for, so.
If I'm being serious though, I'm probably like, okay, guys, let's start like a little company, and I'm gonna more like push the raccoon worshipping on the side. Like, I don't need that.
You're gonna start a company?
Yeah. Like, I just have a bunch of cronies that will do whatever I want.
You're gonna start a
Yeah.
waste disposal dumpster company. More
Yeah.
raccoon homes! More raccoon homes!
Yep. Every raccoon will get his palace.
I went to go throw something in the church dumpster one time, and there was a raccoon there. And it scared me, and I scared it. Neither of us were prepared.
What's that? Wait, what'd you say, Braylee? What was your answer?
Oh, I didn't come up with an answer. I figured since there were 3 people tonight, we would still have 2 answers.
Okay.
The math checks out.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry to make you work so hard. Well, let's move on. We watched a film called Tick Tick Boom. Right, guys?
Correct.
Directed by Lin-Manuel Miranda. His
Never heard of him.
movie
Un-
directorial debut. Yeah.
Unknown talent.
Unknown.
Just coming to the forefront. We are about to make his career by talking about his movie on our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
This one's going to get 172 views on YouTube.
Like how we made John Carpenter's career.
Correct. We did.
Yep. But yeah, we watched it. What do we think about it?
Jumping right in with what we think about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I
We have
guess
no real
summary.
structure here.
It's
Jalen.
about
We
a
just do
guy
what we
named
want.
John Larson. John Larson. Wait, that's his name, right? Rhett Larson. And he lives in New York City. He's a musical right, and he is about to turn 30, and he's like, I haven't done anything with my life, and I need to get this musical that I'm writing up off the ground, or I'm going to be really sad. And it's about his journey.
Yes. He's gonna be kicked out of his apartment because he's completely broke and can't pay his bills. He needs someone to fund his art because he is working at a diner
That's inherent
in
with anybody
New York
that's a
City.
writer.
Well,
Yeah.
I picked this movie because I love this movie. It's one of my favorite movies. So that's how I feel about it.
Good movie. 10 out of 10.
Okay. What do you think?
No, it's a
Bailey?
good movie. I really like the music. I really like the way that it's filmed. I like the way that the storytelling kind of goes back and forth.
Yeah, I do like the out of non-sequential storytelling that it has. I think it's cool. I watched this movie 2021 when it came out. And I remember not liking it too much. But I watched it today, and honestly, I like this movie. Mm-hmm. I think it's pretty good.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
We're not going to have to throw hands as much as I thought we were
I
going
think-
to tonight then.
I think the reason I didn't like it initially was because it got nominated for an Oscar, Best Editing, and I think just because of how cynical I am towards the Oscars and how I think they're run by a bunch of people that don't actually watch movies. Like, I was like, I was like, this doesn't deserve to be nominated for Best Editing. And I still do believe that, but I still like this movie.
The
Yeah.
the editing on it is really good though. Like if it was gonna get nominated for something, it would be the editing, in my opinion. I think it's the strongest.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think like the Academy gets confused with editing and structuring. Yeah, because the editing is the actual, the actual scenes, the way you cut it, and sequencing is just, it's done in the writing usually.
But the editing is
Yeah.
the editing contributes to the sequencing, and the
Yeah.
sequencing contributes to the editing. And technically, the
Yeah.
editing in Tick Tick
Yeah,
Boom
certainly.
is very good, and the cuts are made really well, and in stylistic choices for the scene that's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just trying to explain like the rationale behind like giving or nominating it for an Oscar.
I mean, even if the Oscars wasn't mostly rigged, it's all like subjective anyway. Like, where do you draw the line between like this is technically directing, or this is editing, or this is sequencing? Like, and who gets like, is it because of the directing? So then does it get nominated for the directing, or is it because of the editing? So it gets nominated for the editing. And
Yeah.
everyone would have opinions about that because everyone has opinions about.
Yeah. Yeah, it does get blurry.
Since this is an audio medium, I do just want to let people know that I am nodding along to things that are being said right now.
Braley has agreement.
It's a good movie. I liked it.
Yeah.
But until you explained what editing versus sequencing was, I had no idea.
I do think that the editing's good. I will not. I feel like I'm being too negative on it. Like, I do like it. I think it's very stylistic, and it does give a lot of personality to the film.
Yes. Which I think is like, so, I don't know what's making it into the edit, but they like facetiously introduced me as professional actress and now director. But I love musical theater. I am a musical theater nerd. I have been doing it since I was 8 years old, and I'm very active in community theater, and I watch a lot of musicals. So I like musical theater. And this
And she did literally just
movie-
get paid to direct a play, too. So
I did.
we
Yes,
weren't
I
even
have
being
been
facetious
paid.
about that.
I have been paid to act, and I have been paid to direct. But
Professional.
in the loosest, most technical term of the word professional, I am professional. But when I watched this movie, I was like so happy because, in my opinion, musical movies are very rarely done well. They usually are bad, especially big budget musical movies like blockbusters and stuff. Which this is not a blockbuster, right? It came out on Netflix, but. But why musical theater is fun is because it's not realistic, right? People are singing their feelings and they're dancing about, and it's silly and like over the top. So when you have a movie musical, you should make it fun. Like you should lean into that medium of like the silliness of people breaking out into song and dance. And I think Tick Tick Boom does that super well. Even though its storyline is pretty grounded in reality, the editing and the sequencing and the jokes and the songs all contribute to like the more fun nature of a musical. And I think that the way they handle it in the movie is great. And I like it a lot. What What do you think, Jace?
Yeah.
See your face. No one else sees it, but I see it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is a pretty good musical. I don't know. I do really appreciate like the stuff that it like says like about like art and like the process of creating it.
Yeah.
Like at the end
Well,
when
wait, before you start into that, we should just give the background really quick on
yeah.
this plot. So, like Jace said earlier, it's about Jonathan Larson, which, for those who don't know musical theater, Jonathan Larson wrote the
Real guy.
musical Rent. Big mega hit rock musical, Rent. If you think you've never heard of it, you have. You just probably didn't realize that you have.
525,600 minutes. If you know that,
Yeah.
you have heard a song from Rent.
Yeah.
It ran on Broadway for 12 years. Indina Menzel was in it, who then became the original Elphaba in Wicked and the voice of Elsa in Frozen. So,
And the girlfriend of McDreamy in Enchanted.
yes. In a musical that she didn't sing it, which was weird. But yes, it kind of changed the landscape of musicals and Broadway when it came out. So Tick, Tick, Boom is also something he wrote, and it's semi-autobiographical. It specifically says in the beginning, everything in this musical is true, except for the parts that Jonathan made up. So it's vaguely about his life and about him trying to break out into the writing of musical theater. So, yes, it's a lot about the creative process of how that happens. So, continue, Jace.
So like near the end, when like his musical that he's been working on like doesn't get picked up like he wanted it to be, and then his agent is like, everyone can't wait to see what you've got next, and then agent's just like, yeah, you just gotta write the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. Yeah, and it's hard for me to put it into words exactly why, but it's like a lot of artists will get like into their mind like their project is their magnum opus, and that like it's gonna define them. But like with the inevitability of like your projects are also products, you just gotta keep churning stuff out, finding like the balance between like creating products and creating art is just something like inherent to our society, and something that can be hard for like artists. Like it is hard for him to digest at first, but something you gotta accept.
I just love seeing the things that like talented people can put out there. Like, never in my life will I ever be able to write a song. Like, that's insane. And to like watch people write these songs and do dialogue and choreograph and direct the movie and everything, like it's just really inspiring and just super fun to watch. And not just in this movie, but like in every movie, in every musical I go to, when I listen to like artists' albums and stuff, like it's just so far out of my reach that it's just kind of like inspiring. So it was really cool to see like the culmination of a lot of this work that he put in.
I didn't know anything
about this movie.
about the musical before I watched the movie. As far as I know, Tick, Tick, Boom was never produced as a musical ever. This movie was the first time that it had ever been put into production anywhere. It was a failed musical, essentially, that Jonathan Larson wrote. So I think that it was cool to see, like, not only a movie about the creative process and a movie about specifically the creative process of musicals, but then seeing this movie be like the finished product of one of those creative processes that was never fulfilled by Jonathan Larson, you know, the way he probably hoped that it was going to be. Um,
Yeah.
you know, if going off the movie is anything to judge of the way he is. And that this movie is also, I think one of the reasons I love it so much, it's very much a ode to not just Jonathan Larson, but musical theater. Like, it's clearly a movie that loves musicals and is made for people who love musicals. And I think it's just a love letter to that whole medium as art. And you can tell that there was just like a lot of theater nerd love going on with the production of the movie.
Yeah. I like how it doesn't like overload you with like Rent. Like, I didn't even know going into this movie that it was about the guy who made Rent. Like on the poster, it doesn't say like the dude that made Rent, his story. Like, and even in the movie, they only mention Rent like a few times. Like,
Yeah. Basically,
like
the very,
it really isn't.
yeah, they just mention Rent at the very beginning, and then like the very end. Pretty
Yeah,
much it.
yeah. And it does seem very genuine. That's like it's not the story of the guy who made the really iconic thing. It's the story of like a guy kind of being a failure for a lot of the movie.
Yeah. I do think that like I
Yeah.
was very impressed like for Lin-Manuel Miranda's first time directing. I think it's an incredible directorial debut. You know, I think the internet has a on again, off again relationship with Lin-Manuel Miranda, I feel like. Um, uh, but I think that he was such a great choice to direct this movie because it was a passion project. He said in interviews that it was a passion project of his to make this movie. But also because Lin-Manuel Miranda has done this process, right? Like, he creates musicals. He has been Jonathan Larson. He's created failed musicals before. Like, it took him a long time to get his big break on Broadway. In the Heights was on Broadway. It didn't do super well. And when he created the concept for Hamilton, the first time he showcased it in public, people laughed at him. They thought it was such a stupid concept for a musical. So, like, I think that there was a lot of care put into what that process looks like and what it feels like for the person doing it, and also the people that have to deal with them during that process.
Did he write the songs for this movie?
No, Jonathan Larson wrote the song. The musical was written by Jonathan Larson. It's
They take all of them. All the songs are from him.
This musical was written by him. It was just never
Yeah. I understand.
never produced.
I understand. Tic Tac.
Yeah.
Tic Tac Boom was a real thing.
Tic Tac Boom.
Tic
Tac
Tac Boom.
Tic Tac Toe. The musical.
Tick Tick Boom.
Yeah, so all the music is Jonathan Larson's music.
Okay, yeah. That's cool.
And if you've ever listened to Rent,
He wrote some cool songs.
yeah, if you've ever listened to Rent before or seen Rent, like, you can hear they're written by the same person. He's got a style.
Yeah.
It's the same way you can always tell a song's been written
Yeah.
by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Except for Shiny. I don't think that sounds like it was written by Lin-Manuel Miranda at all.
Yeah, because that's an actual good song.
Okay, we're not going to fight about
Right.
Lin-Manuel Miranda, who I do think is very talented. I think he is incredibly talented, incredible songwriter. I do think that the rap song in The New Little Mermaid is one of the worst things that's ever happened to humanity as a whole.
Yeah.
But I'm blaming Disney because in my head, the Disney execs put Lin-Manuel Miranda in a closet and they said, "Don't come out until you write a rap song for Scuttle." and then that happened and
Yeah.
it was horrible.
The scuttlebutt.
Uh,
That's why I'll never see that movie. No, that's not the reason.
Have you not watched it?
so
No, I haven't.
so yes, the music. I really like the music a lot. Yeah.
I give it a not bad.
The first song, 3090, Come to Your Senses, obviously incredible.
Yes.
The last
What's-
song is one of my favorites.
I was just really bummed that his like sci-fi musical never really got, because every single song that they did for that to like do their little showcase, I was like, I want to watch that musical. I want all the music for that musical.
Yeah.
It's good music.
I love that no one could figure out what the plot of the musical is.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole like cast was like, "Is it aliens?" And he's like, "No, there's no aliens." And then his agent was like, "It's just too expensive to put on. I mean, a musical about robots and flying spaceships." And he's like, "That's not what it's about."
And she's like, "Oh, I know.
While watching it, it felt like also trying to watch Sing. Where that is like the musical that they're trying to put on. Like I feel like especially in like Sing 2, where they're like aliens in the middle of the thing and like really sci-fi and stuff. I was like, I feel like this is what everyone thought that Sondheim's musical was trying to be. Not Sondheim. Why am I a dummy?
Larson.
Thank you.
But Sondheim is in this.
Sondheim is in this. Well, as a character. Not Sondheim
Yes.
himself.
Is that a person? Who's Sondheim?
Oh, jeez.
A very famous musical
No, let's not get into
writer.
it.
Yeah.
I don't listen to music.
Incredibly famous musical theater writer. Arguably the best musical theater writer ever in history. I'll just read you off some of his stuff. Into the Woods, Sweeney Todd,
What about
Sunday in the Park with George,
bad movie?
A Little Music, Merrily We Roll Along, which just recently was revived on Broadway, starring Jonathan Groff and Daniel Radcliffe. The female actress, I'm so sorry, I don't remember your name. She's so talented. I love her. I just do not remember her name. Company, he's just incredibly talented, and he's known for writing very difficult musical scores. Very difficult musical scores with fast rhythm, no pauses for breath, and incredibly tongue-twisting lyrics that actors have to perform. If you've seen Into the Woods,
Who's he?
you know what I'm talking about.
Is Lindsay Mendez
And he was in this movie?
the one you're thinking of?
Yes.
Okay.
She's incredible. Yeah, you should look up any clips from Merrily We Roll Along of the cast. So good.
Who was he in this movie?
Stephen Sondheim is the character. He's played by Bradley Whitford in Tick, Tick, Boom.
But it's like he is.
Oh. What guy
Yeah.
is he?
But yeah, so Stephen Sondheim is like the real person as well, and so Bradley Whitford plays him in
Okay,
this.
yeah.
Yes. So, and this is taken
Okay.
from real life. In real life, Stephen Sondheim did know Jonathan Larson and did listen to this musical that Jonathan Larson was writing and liked it. The phone message that Stephen leaves him after the showcase that says, I think you have a real future and I want to talk about your musical and I'll call you later with some notes, that voicemail is Stephen Sondheim, the real Stephen Sondheim's voice. he passed away before this movie came out, but they got him to record that voice message of what he said. He didn't say this in real life to Jonathan Larson on his real voice message, but he wished that he would have said what's said in the movie. So,
Oh,
so yeah.
that's pretty cool.
That's why you'll notice if you listen closely to like Bradley Whitford playing Stephen Sondheim, doesn't sound anything like phone Stephen Sondheim. Bradley Whitford has a very distinct voice quality that the real Sondheim doesn't have, so didn't have. But yeah, during that scene when Sondheim showed up to like his workshop, like in the past, like when he was first working on Suburbia, that he said first-rate lyric and tune is what he said, and Jonathan is like, I was like, if Stephen Sondheim said that to me in public, I would break down sobbing. Like, first-rate lyric and tune from the man who's arguably the greatest musical composer in musical theater history. Like,
The Socrates of musicals.
yes, that's what everyone calls him.
Yep. The father. I was thinking that too when I was watching the movie.
What were you thinking? First-rate lyric and tune?
I was thinking, whoa, what if that was me? That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I was not thinking that. I'm sorry. I didn't know who that guy was. But he was cool. He was the same guy that was like with the other guy that was like that just went with what he said. The other old guy.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a funny
That's
scene.
why. That's like the whole funny bit of that scene is he's just agreeing because it's Stephen Sondheim. And you're going to feel like a complete idiot sitting in the same room as Stephen Sondheim and not agreeing with what he's saying. So, like, yeah, we can laugh at that character and be like, what an idiot. But at the same time, you're like, what would you do if, like, you know, not necessarily Stephen Sondheim, but anybody, like, that you would consider your idol in anything.
It's like if you were at a restaurant and Gordon Ramsay showed up and you were like eating something, you're like, this isn't really very good. I think Gordon Ramsay is like, the finish on this is fantastic. This is a great like crema. Like you did a great job. You'd be like, are my taste buds trash? Like, do I not know what good food tastes like?
Right?
You say my taste buds are trash, Jace?
No, like the average person probably doesn't taste anything like what Gordon Ramsay tastes on a daily basis. Like,
Yep.
Did Daniel die? I can't recall.
Who?
Daniel, the friend. Was that his name?
Michael.
Michael. Yep.
Yep, that
I
guy.
can't with you right
Did he
now.
die?
Like in real life, are you
he die?
asking, or in the movie?
Both. Because I don't think he died in the movie.
He doesn't die in the movie. It's just
Did he?
implied that he will die because he
Yeah.
has HIV.
Yeah.
But because obviously this is semi-autobiographical, so like in real life, there's no like
Daniel? Character?
Michael?
his name's Michael.
Oh,
This
Michael?
is-
Are you saying that there's no
This is
one-to-one?
Legally Blonde all over again. He called
What
him
was he
Warren.
calling?
He called him Warren,
Warren?
the entire episode.
Wait.
Based on
But you didn't
Jonathan
answer my
Larson's
question.
real-life friend Matt O'Grady. All of Larson's friends except Matt eventually passed away from AIDS. He did not.
All of
So
his
Matt
friends?
contracted HIV, but he did not die.
Yeah. Because I was thinking, like, this takes place in 1990. Somewhere around the 90s is when we started being able to treat HIV. So I was like, oh, maybe he's okay. Also, like, that little split second where John's watching TV, and the politician's like, if these gay people would stop, having sex and shooting up, then there wouldn't be any AIDS. And I was like, dang, politicians really haven't changed. Like, they they messed up the AIDS epidemic, and then when there was a global pandemic, they also screwed that up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess we can talk about that. I really liked the subtext, I guess, because it's not really like the main point of the movie, but about the HIV and AIDS epidemic and how it was being handled, which is, bad.
Yeah.
Very poorly. And I thought it was really
It
interesting.
took like Reagan years to even acknowledge it.
Yeah. And
But yeah.
I thought it was really interesting because Rent is a lot about HIV and AIDS and gay relationships, and it's like more side plot in Tick Tick Boom, but it's more plot in Rent. And I thought it was really interesting. I think a lot of the movie is about Jonathan Larson's not just creative journey, but also his personal journey of how his own life affects his art, right? When his agent Rosa tells him to write what he knows for the next one was Tick Tick Boom, which is about his own personal life and his own personal friends who were largely in the LGBTQ plus community and affected by the HIV and AIDS epidemic, which then led him to finishing Rent, which is even more about those issues. So yeah, I just thought it was really interesting to see like kind of his growth near the end of that, and up until like the final song is very much about like leadership and who we follow and what choices we make and what we do in our own personal lives and how that impacts the society we live in and the people that we love, basically. Which is very different from the first song, which is all about like, isn't it so sad and pathetic that I'm almost 30 and haven't even written a musical or gotten married and had a baby? Like, I like that. So I really like that. And I really liked that the movie pointed out like Jonathan comes from this place of privilege, from by virtue of being a straight white man, right? And Michael, who's a Hispanic gay man, is like just I love, obviously I don't love the fight, but I like the fight because I like the messaging that it brings to the movie, right? Where Michael's like, you sit up in your apartment and you make art that you complain about, and you can choose to have all these things, and you can choose to be with Susan if that's what you want, and you can choose to do that, and I don't get to, and I don't get to make these choices. And when I show up to auditions, the directors call me by the wrong name because I'm Hispanic. That's one of my favorite lines in the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, they call me by the wrong name, Juan or Pedro, lo que sea.
And like John like says to Michael that like when they fight, like he's like, at least I don't like perpetuate a system, because Michael works in advertising and sells some obviously not good stuff.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like it's not Michael, like who's John to like look down on Michael like a gay man that like John hasn't even like realized like how like inherently has privileges over over Michael.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, you're successful, but you didn't do it through an artsy way, so you're lame. You're lame. Yeah.
Yeah.
You sold out, you gave up, type of a thing. But everyone's just trying to eat food and pay their bills.
Not everyone can not pay their bills.
Yeah.
Well, everyone can, but yeah.
Not everyone can live after not paying their bills.
Especially writers.
Yeah. You too cannot pay your bills. Anyone's capable of
like
it.
Good old Johnny. Speaking of fights, I really like the girlfriend fight.
The therapy song.
Yeah.
That's what that song is called on the track list. It's called
Yeah.
Therapy. There's no therapy happening, but
No. The opposite.
Yeah. Maybe some learning happening, but
yeah, Brett was in the room while I was watching Tick Tick Boom. He was like, at the beginning, he wasn't really watching it at all. He's seen it before. We watched it when it first came out together. But he was like on his laptop doing stuff, and he would kind of like look over and watch it. And then when we got to the ramp up to Therapy, he sat up and he goes, "Oh, I love this song."
yeah, it's good.
And then when we finished it, because he pretty much watched the whole last half, like, just with me. And then when we finished it, he was like, if Jace doesn't like this movie, he's crazy.
Well,
Turns out Jace 3 years ago was crazy.
I'm glad I
but
won't
he's good now.
disappoint Brett. Yeah, I'm good. I'm sane.
But yes, that is a really good. I love that scene so much because they did such a great job of balancing like how ridiculously comedic the actual song is with how devastating and realistic and sad the actual fight that they're having is. Like, it's a depressing fight,
Yeah.
right? And it feels really real. Like, because their problem, most of their problem is miscommunication, which is just like the number one things that couples suck at. Like, that couples fight about is just like not communicating properly with each other.
Yeah.
And so like
Yeah, I really do like the juxtaposition. How do I say that word? Juxtaposition?
juxtaposition.
Juxtaposition. Juxtaposition. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what were you going to say, Jalen?
Well, I think that this movie does a really good job of, which is largely due to the actors. The actors do a really good job of selling the chemistry between all the characters. Like, you really feel that, like, Jonathan and Susan have been dating for a while. Like, you really feel like Jonathan and Michael have been best friends since they were 8 years old. Like, you really feel that, like, his coworkers at the diner are, like, you know, his friends that he has this sucky job with, so they've, like, trauma bonded over being waiters in New York City, basically. Like, which I do think a lot of that, all the actors are incredible in this movie. And a lot of that falls on Andrew Garfield. I think Andrew Garfield in every movie I've seen him in really sells the chemistry with whichever actor he's on screen with. He's really good at that.
Yeah, Garfield's really good in this movie.
He's so good. And his singing is so good. And I am hypercritical of actors who are put in musical theater roles because I don't like it when they put actors who can either not sing or kind of sing into musical theater roles when there are hundreds of incredibly talented people who can do both very well, but they don't have the name recognition, so they get, you know, pushed out in favor of a bigger name who can't sing. But he did such a good job. Absolutely incredible. I was blown away.
Yeah.
He made me eat all my words about actors who are actors and not singers. So
He's got some pipes. I'll give him that. I like the end of the girlfriend fight scene because that part where he like hugs her and then is like tapping
Taps her
like, a
shoulder.
tune on her. Yeah. And she realizes that like he's like making a song out of this fight. Like he's envisioning writing a song about the fight that they just had and everything. Yeah. And it reminded me of like The Fabelmans. Have you guys seen that movie?
That's Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, it's a Spielberg joint. But like
It's like semi-autobiographical,
it's
right?
about yeah. Kind of like this movie. But yeah, it's about a dude wanting to make movies like Spielberg, of course. But like how in that movie when the character sometimes experiences like traumatic events or like really sad events, and what does he want to do? Like he wants to film it, like, and it's kind of like this more like darker side of like art that like you want to like take these traumatic events.
You want to dramatize them, right? You want to.
Yeah, put them on screen. Yeah, like exacerbate them, because kind of like the unhealthy part of that is like just seeing like the drama in like these moments and not actually experiencing them as like a person. Yeah, which like John's character has gone like full off the deep end on like all he's focused on is creating.
And the
Yeah.
thing is, like, at the end of the day, like, that final song that he writes is largely made out of like little snippets of stuff his friends have said to him, like, throughout the time, or things he's heard, like, on the TV, or a thought that popped into his mind because he saw a poster somewhere, right? Like these external things that made him like come up with this, which then I think, personally for me, I think that the last song is very much supposed to be like, this is where the evolution of Rent comes from. Like, all of this leads up to a Jonathan Larson who creates Tick, Tick, Boom, which then leads to a Jonathan Larson who writes Rent. And Rent is very largely inspired by Jonathan Larson's real life friends. His friends who went through these situations that the characters in Rent do. So it's very interesting because like he's trying to write this musical Suburbia, and he's pushing away his girlfriend and his best friend and all these people, but they're actually the people who inspire him to write his most popular and arguably best creations.
Yeah, I like when his girlfriend walks in and sees how he's living
Yeah.
and how he's become a slob. All those people that are like, oh, the key to a successful life is to make your bed in the morning. No, the key to a successful life is to live in filth and obsess over whatever you're working on.
That's in all the self-help books.
Yeah. It is funny though that like people do like talk about like being like orderly and stuff when like a lot of successful people, especially artists, are like self-destructive, and everything is secondary to their creative output, even their like physical well-being.
Yeah. Well, it's also like depending on what kind of creative you are, because there's so many different kinds, but like really, really successful creative people have the money to hire people who are organized for them. Like, You make sure
Yeah.
they get to their meetings or their calls or whatever that they need to. Make sure that their bills are paid. And even like on a
Yeah.
really small level, like I just directed this play. Like I'm the director, mostly my focus is the creative part of the play, right? I direct the performances and I choose like what things look like and where people move and stuff. And then I have a stage manager who's kind of like my brain because she does like, are we getting out of rehearsal on time? How long have we been working on this? Write down everyone's contact information. Like she's like that kind of the person. That's how the stage manager does. So the director's like can be flighty, artsy person. And then the stage manager is like,
Yeah.
and here's the order and how we keep things in line because otherwise this would crumple.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of like if you're a producer, Jonathan Larson can be artsy, flighty person who writes, you know, incredible musicals, but then he has to hand it off to producers and other people who actually make stuff happen, you know? Like when the
Yeah.
guy running his showcase looks at him and goes, "Look, there's no money for your musicians. So, you're going to have to buy them if you want them." Like Jonathan Larson operates in art people world, and this man operates in real people world, where
Yeah.
where there's rules about things.
Where he's just like, I need musicians. And yeah,
Yeah,
not contemplating like how are those musicians gonna get paid?
yeah, and like $100 for one musician on an arts budget. That's not cheap,
Yeah.
especially in 1990. Like,
Nope. Yeah.
honestly, though, when he said $100
Like
per
John says
musician,
to him like, yeah, John says to him like, oh, you got like a budget of like $5 million. And then the dude's like, you have 12 RSVPs. Like, we can't put any more money into this.
I do think too, there's like an interesting argument when Jonathan's telling Michael in that fight about how he sold out to, you know, be in advertising, to have the big apartment and whatever and all the fancy stuff. But like in a similar way, Jonathan Larson is doing the same thing, right? He becomes so focused on the producers, right? Who's going to be there, the people who can give him money for his art, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not in like an awful or malicious way, just in a realistic way. You have to have money to live and to make your art, right? So like he can yell at Michael and say, "Oh, you sold out, you care more about money or whatever." But Jonathan Larson is over here like pushing away everybody who cares about him in his life because he's chasing a fictitious $30,000 check that a imaginative person might write him, you know?
Yeah. Money's the great equalizer. We're all a slave to that coin. Right, guys?
Uh-huh. Braylee, what was your favorite part of the movie?
I don't know. I really like the diner scene where they have everybody in and like the walls fall away and stuff like that. Like I just think that's a really cool, fun scene to watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good
That's
one.
I think Tick Tick Boom is a great example of how a movie medium can enhance a musical. Because when you do a musical on stage, you can only, there's limits to what happens on a stage, right? You only have that to work with. And in a movie, you have so much more things you can do because you can edit things and you can put effects in and you can do all kinds of crazy stuff that's not possible in live theater. And I think that they do a really great job with that in Tick Tick Boom, especially the diner scene. which, if anyone doesn't know, which is probably you guys, everyone who's in that diner scene is a very, very famous Broadway performer.
I did know that.
Oh,
Jace, did you know that?
like Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Like Lin-Manuel Miranda. And
Yeah,
but-
he's like one of the cooks.
yes, both the women from the main women from Hamilton are in it. Philippa Sue and the woman who played Angelica, whose name just escaped my brain. But they had Bernadette Peters and Patti LuPone and
Renee Elise Goldsberg. Goldsberry.
yes, Renee Elise Goldsberry, the woman who I know she's so famous on Broadway. She was the original. Addams Family, the mother, Morticia.
Morticia.
Jeez. Okay. Yes. She was the original Morticia Addams on Broadway and several other things. But I just know her as Lilith from Frasier because I adore her. But that actress is in that scene.
Phoebe Newirth.
Bebe Neuwirth, yes. She's so incredible. Also, another actor from Frasier, the guy who plays his snooty upstairs neighbor, Cam Winston, that actor, he's in it too. So, the theme is that Frasier loves to hire Broadway stars.
Oh. Brian Stokes.
Yes.
Brian Stokes Mitchell.
I think that's a fun way to do cameos if you're going to do them, is they're part of the scene, but there's a reason why they're there as characters. And if you don't know who they are, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't affect the scene not knowing who any of those people are. The scene's still cool, and it still works in the context of the movie. It's just fun if you do know who they all are.
Like I did.
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh, that's Joe Schmo. My favorite playwright. I got a question, age-old question. Could you beat it?
What?
Yeah, I could beat Tick Tick Boom.
Yeah.
This is our question right now.
I think
That was the Edge of Tomorrow question too. Was could you beat it? Could you beat Edge of Tomorrow? Could you beat The
Oh.
Thing?
yeah.
Could you? So
Oh, right.
Usually when we
Yeah.
do it, usually when
Usually
we're
we're
doing
doing
an
an
action
action
movie,
movie,
we
so.
ask this.
could you beat it, Jalen?
Could you beat it?
I'm gonna go with no.
I guess it is probably the creative process.
Yeah, I'm saying it is like creating a musical and finding the will to continue just creating the next one and the next one and the next one with no hope or promise of ever getting anywhere with it. And I think the answer's no. 'Tis why I do community theater.
'Tis why I perform things that other people have written.
Yeah. Yeah. I've also
I couldn't live in New York.
no. I don't know why anyone wants to do that.
Yeah, me neither.
Although I am grateful for
I
them.
visited and I just felt too claustrophobic.
See, I do like visiting New York. From my whole one time that I visited New York. I really liked it. But I would never live there. I'm just a small town girly with anxiety, so
That's why I like Escape from New York, because it's all about getting out of there.
oh yeah, I don't think that you liked that movie if I remember correctly.
I did like that movie.
I hated
Braylee
that
did not
movie.
like that movie.
Isn't it one of those movies you like ironically? Like the
No.
way you like Twilight?
No. Escape from New York is a good movie. It's fun. I do not like it ironically. John Carpenter is a genius.
This is like me explaining to people that I like
Um,
Ella Enchanted. It's fun. It's a good movie, okay? It's so fun. And the writing is not terrible at all. You guys should
yeah.
do Ella Enchanted.
Well, mm, no.
Why no, Jace?
You really should.
The answer is yes, we will. It's going on the
I
list.
feel we need to do more. We need to do more controversial films.
Ella Enchanted is controversial in the book community.
Is it?
Because
Okay.
Ella Enchanted, the book, is a masterpiece. It's beautiful. It's a gorgeous book. Ella Enchanted, the movie, absolutely nothing like the book in any way conceivable you could think of at all. They're named the same thing and they have nothing to do with each other. So people who love the book hate the movie,
Oh,
and they are valid in that hate. I just love the movie because it's ridiculous and it's fun.
Ella Enchanted's funny.
It's very funny. And I'm
Anne Hathaway is a genius.
you heard it here first, folks. Anne Hathaway is a genius.
She's really funny in that movie.
It's a very funny movie, and I saw it before
Can't take that with
before I
me.
read the book. But if I did read the book first and then went to the movies to watch Ella Enchanted, thinking I was getting the book adaptation of Ella Enchanted, I would be very angry.
Ella Enchanted, like, it's kind of funny that it's adapted from a book because it's got a lot of like music, like,
Yep.
like
There's no
90s
music in the book,
music.
Chase. There's no music in the
Yeah,
book.
I know, I
There
know.
is no evil uncle in the book.
Turns out it's not a musical book.
The only thing that's the same about the book and the movie is that there is a girl named Ella, and she is enchanted so that she has to be obedient. That's it. That's the same, and nothing else is.
I bet the movie's better.
It's not.
What song do they have in that movie?
Somebody to love.
What's that one song?
Yeah. Can anybody find me somebody to love? And then also,
Yeah,
don't
that's
go
why
breaking
that's
my
why the book is
heart.
inferior.
I couldn't if I tried.
Yeah.
The book is much more, I say grounded, knowing that this is very much a fantasy book, but it's much more grounded in its approach to the Cinderella story.
Has there been a musical book?
Where it like plays you music.
Or just has songs in it?
Well,
I think the only one I can think of is The
I know, it's
Hobbit.
like Tolkien really loves his songs.
Yeah. Honestly, I love that about The Hobbit's awesome for that.
There is a book called Daisy Jones and the Six. It's about a band.
Oh, they
I've
made that
never
into
read
a
it.
series.
They made it into a TV series, and I know there was original music written for the TV series, but I don't know if the music plays any part in the book or if it's just about the band. No idea.
There's another book. I haven't actually read it, but the Book of 1,000 Days by Shannon O'Connor. Do you know that one?
Shannon Hale.
Hale.
I just reread that book. I am not kidding. 3 days ago.
Okay. Did you read it? Or did
Yes.
you... Okay. Because apparently the audiobook is like a full cast audiobook.
Yes,
and they have the music in it and stuff too.
Yes, because she is the main character is called what they called a mucker, and they have healing songs.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of her character is her healing songs.
I did read like the first 3 chapters, so I think I need to just listen to it. I think I'll do better listening to it.
It's really good. Like I'm not a big fan of journal entry style books, so I wish it was traditionally written, because I love Shannon Hale. I like a lot of her books. I think she's very talented storyteller. So I wish it was just traditionally told, but it's still very good. They should make that into a movie.
We should
Get
listen
on
to the
that, Jace.
audiobook, Jace, and review it. You're muted. What are you doing?
I think he's singing to something.
What are you singing?
I'm singing the little Goblin Town ditty that Tolkien wrote.
We can't hear you.
Tolkien was really smart because, like, you, like, read this stuff and then naturally you're gonna, like, sing it. Like, clap, clap, black crack, clip, grip, grab, pinch, nab, and down, down to Goblin Town. Town you go, my lad. Clash, crash, crunch, smash, hammer and tongs, knocker and gongs, pound, pound, far underground, ho, ho, my lad. Wasn't that awesome?
I like the Misty Mountains.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That
Overall.
was a...
The movie should have
Go ahead.
done more of that.
Yes. No, go ahead.
No, I'm trying to wrap this up. I need to go to bed. I have to be at a conference tomorrow at like 7:30 a.m.
Gross. All right, wrap us up.
How many thumbs up?
Oh. One thumb.
I don't think this is a very good scale, you guys. There's only 100 or 50%.
No, I've said 1.5 thumbs.
No.
Okay, so there's
It's
25, 50, 75,
there's 5
and
options.
100%.
Yeah, it's basically a 5-star scale, except, yeah, it's like a 5-star scale.
No,
You cannot look me...
the age-old question is, would you watch it again?
Yes,
Yes.
I have.
Yeah.
Several times.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't put it on myself, but
Well, that makes it better than La La Land, which I wouldn't watch again with a gun to my head.
okay. I'll come over there and see if that's true.
Just so everyone
Well-
knows too, Jalen's
I bet it's not.
display name on her Discord is literally La La Land sucks. This
Yeah.
Discord that she made specifically for
Sacrilege.
this
For this
recording.
one podcast episode I'm appearing in.
Hey,
Because
controversial take.
it's not controversial.
Damien Chazelle, way better director than Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Then what? Win-Manuel Miranda?
Lin-Manuel
Wait,
Miranda.
Miranda.
Reading my Miranda Whites.
Get out of here. Alright, well. I am going to... Jace is going to be upset with me because he's like, we need to do more controversial movies, but I've already set up the recording schedule for the next 3 weeks, and our next movie is Megamind.
Is it controversial to say that Megamind is better than Despicable Me?
No. How would that be
Because
controversial?
Despicable Me was really popular and got tons of sequels and spin-offs and crap.
And Megamind did not.
Megamind got...
The first Megamind.
There's...
Oh.
Okay.
The first Despicable Me.
I was
is
like, there's
good
only one
movie.
Megamind.
And then it spawned literal trash.
Technically, there are 2 Megaminds. There is like a... There was like a unofficial off-brand sequel to Megamind that exists like only somewhere deep in the internet, and I've seen clips of it, and it's horrible.
Jace.
I thought that was a
you need to
TV
find
show.
that.
I'll find
I don't think I do.
I'll find the YouTube video that talked about it that I watched and send it to you guys.
Okay. Well, yes, Jace, Megamind is the one we're recording next week.